We're taking this four-wheel drive F550 with a 7.3 Power Stroke diesel and a ZF6 manual transmission, restoring it and building the ultimate adventure camper. In my last video, we tore out everything off the frame and some of the interior, which was where I was planning to stop the disassembly. The plan all along was a mild restoration. Well, that's not happening. After finding some issues with the engine and deciding to pull it, we may as well pull the cab and bring this truck back to its 1999 glory days when it drove off the assembly line. So if you want to see the most reliable, long-lasting Super Duty ever made by Ford get a new lease on life, subscribe and enjoy the video. Alright guys, in our last video, we took this F550 from a perfectly good running, driving truck and tore it down to pretty much nothing. There's no suspension, nothing on the back. And the idea behind that was we wanted to take it down to the cab so we could paint the frame and do some other stuff on this truck. But we ran into a few issues. Once I tore into this thing, I found that there was some changes that had happened after our 1,000-mile road trip. That freeze plug right there is leaking coolant. I don't know if you guys can see that line right there, but that's our head gasket. And it is seeping coolant. It's not a full leak, but it's a slight leak. And unfortunately, that is on both heads. Both heads are seeping fluid. And then when I got in here, I found out that this 7.3 was a remanufactured engine. So I have no idea how many miles are on this engine, unfortunately. But we know there's a couple issues going on here. And after a little bit of research, I found out that the Ford remanufactured engines, they tend to reuse their head bolts. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this engine out, probably gonna go ahead and pull the cab off at the same time. I guess may as well go the whole way, get the frame completely painted, do this thing like a 90% restoration. We'll pull the head off of the 7.3 and see exactly what we're working with. If it's too much, we'll put a 5.9 Cummins in it. If it's just a head gasket and some new head bolts, then we'll stick it back in there. But the thing is, I've never pulled the cab before, and this is all I have to pull it. Honestly, working on this thing out here, the only downside to having a shop out in the middle of the woods is that there's no one out here for miles. We are about, I think that the nearest house is about 4.5 miles away. You know, taking on projects like this, I wish that, you know, had someone that could actually come out to the shop and work on this thing with me, because I mean, you know, go through a lot of pain getting into stuff like this. You gotta have someone to suffer through it with.
James? Dude, I heard you needed some help. Somebody sent me, said you had an F550 that you needed a hand on.
This is it, man.
Perfect.
So we got a leak.
Well, that's not acceptable. I don't know what to tell you, but it's leaking.
Pull the motor?
Pull the motor.
What about the cab?
Pull the cab too.
Wait, where'd he go?
Somebody sent me to pull an engine?
Oh man, this is why I do YouTube. I'd be a terrible actor. Guys, this is Luke right here.
What's going on, everybody?
So Luke hit me up with an email and he saw one of my last YouTube videos and he just said, want to come out here and help on the truck and just get in the garage and work on it? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So we got on a call and I was like, this guy, you've worked on 7.3s, he's worked on trucks, he's done all that. Heard about what I was planning for this truck. And yeah, so he works a job where he has 2 weeks where he works and then a week off, and on his weeks off he's going to be coming up here to the shop and helping out with this build.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a good time filming this and getting this taken care of, so you, sir, have somewhere to live when you're on the road.
Get this rig done, and then we'll get started on the next giveaway rig. That's the plan. We got a lot of work to do. We have limited tools and equipment. We don't have a lift to take the cab off. Plan is pretty much take the cab off, then do the motor, The frame and all that's really high right now, so we're actually going to use this tractor to try to lift the front of this thing up and shimmy back and forth until we have this frame a lot lower to the ground. And hopefully, in that case, we can use this and the little one over here to pull this cab. Let's get started. We're up the jacks! What we're actually doing here is a reverse squat. All right, now the truck is a lot closer to the ground. Pull this cab up, bring it back, pull the motor out, and then we'll have a bare frame. Now we'll be starting from scratch. So as we started taking things apart, the decision was made to thoroughly go through everything. This wasn't just pulling the cab, we'd also be taking off a lot of the components in the engine bay so we could get a full paint job on the cab, fenders, and engine bay. This would give us a chance to replace some of the components that were showing wear, like the plastics, and recondition the wiring harness in the engine bay. A full ground-up restoration is what we're going for. By going this far though, I still throw around the idea of putting a classic Ford cab on this semi-modern chassis, either a bump side or a dent side from the 60s to 70s, and replace the engine with a mechanical 5.9 Cummins, still backed by the ZF6. It would have the best of all worlds with the high load capacity, classic look, and the torque and simplicity of the inline-6 Cummins engine. A Frankenstein for sure. As of right now, I don't need to decide until we get a rolling chassis put together. I would love to do this, but financially, it would have been better to buy a rolling 2005 Plus chassis instead of paying for the full truck and selling off the engine, cab, and small components. One factor I'm unsure of though is what is the media value of a project like that? How many more people would watch? What type of attention would it get at events? How much more would that grow the channel? Let me know what you guys think of this crazy idea in the comments, and if you guys really want to see this happen and help support, grab a shirt or a flashlight off of our website. That's how we fund all of this, plus a lot of fried rice dinners, and anything that you do grab off of our website will also get you entered to win our last camper build. Someone's driving this rig off, and it might just be you. All it takes is a little support on expeditionranch.com. The giveaway ends on Christmas, December 25th, and as a little idea, you could stock the stuffings with some of our shirts or gear and get a ton of entries. A present for your friends and family, and a present for you. One of our customers told us they were doing that, and I was like, dang, that's pretty smart. Your friends might be a little jealous if you win the rig, but still, pretty smart. You guys watching are the heart of this channel, and I'm here to make videos for you guys. I have a lot that I want to do to make this a top tier channel, and whether you realize it or not, we're all making this happen one video at a time.
Oh, just disconnecting, got starter solenoid out, relay, horn.
Everything off of the fender, right?
Pretty much everything off the fender's coming off, and then we need to take this wiring harness off of here, some more stuff on that side.
I'm getting in down here, so there's connection right here for the wiring harness to go into the cab for some of the controls there, and then there's also another harness connection for the computer right down in there. They're all 10mm bolts. Batteries are out. This little piece that was covering here is out, and there's plenty more. We are in it right now. A lot more than what I was expecting to be, but we got a lot of the stuff off the fenders, a lot of stuff disconnected from the cab. A lot of the electronics back there disconnected, a lot of stuff to pull the motor disconnected, power steering, all that stuff. Dude, you are a machine.
That's what I'm here for, dude. I like working.
It just keeps on going. I'd be in bed by now. It's what, like 1 a.m.? It's close to 1 a.m. right now.
Yeah, close to 1.
So at this point, I think we're just going to go ahead and pull the motor out. And then cab will be able to come out. We're debating if we're going to take fenders and stuff off too right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's still got a lot of work to do, but it's getting there.
it is day 2 of taking this thing apart. We've gotten a lot of stuff out of here, but there's still a lot more to go. There's heater lines, there's AC lines, all sorts of stuff to get the cab off of this body. So I got to go over to my corner and edit last week's video, the one that you saw last week. I'm still editing that. And Luke is gonna continue taking over with getting the rest of this thing together.
We're gonna get her done.
All right, the motor's chained up. We're about ready to go. I think we have everything off the motor that we could find. So there are 2 hooks on this motor, one in the back right there, and another one right there. And it should be as easy as lifting it up and bringing it forward a little bit. Ready?
Let's do this. Oh, in James's infinite wisdom, a floor jack. Raise the body up a little bit, as it's already doing.
All right, there we go. 7.3 is out of the truck. And on the engine stand. And this is just a massive, massive motor. Just waiting for the dead rat. The truck right now is down to basically its bare state. And now since the cab bolts are out of this thing, we just need to lift it up somehow. So we'll get that off and then we'll be down to a bare frame for the restoration. So to get this thing off without a lift, we have a couple of options, but we think that the best one is to take this guy right here, roll it back. We don't have room to actually use this come along. And the cab's pretty light. We were both able to lift it from the back with just our hands. So we're thinking of actually using a large ratchet strap up here.
Strap here in this corner and a strap on the driver's side. And then
Put a towel in there, make sure it doesn't crease anything.
Yep, and then also here on the front, we're gonna put a strap up here, and then probably 2 straps up here as well, and then lift it up and get it out of here.
And then we have this little guy here, and that one should help balance it on the front. Ready to get started?
Let's do this.
Let's do it. then back here, we got 2 ratchet straps going, and those are going through the back window right here, and then through the door. Put a towel on it to just help even that stress out. But this thing's pretty light. There's really not much in here right now besides the dash. Same thing on that side. So I think we're just gonna strap one up, crank them both evenly, crank the front up, and then push this whole thing out.
It's a lot of work. Just taking the cab off a frame.
Well, bringing it down to a bare frame. I mean, the only thing we have left is, we got a steering box and a couple of brake lines. That's it.
Yep.
I mean, this thing is fully down to a frame.
Now, whole thing painted.
Sandblast. Remy said that she liked doing the grinding on this. She ground all this, but we're gonna get a sandblaster, so.
It's like those carpet cleaning videos you see on TikTok.
It kind of is, like the satisfying videos. Dude, this is insane. We just took a Super Duty down to nothing. Dude.
That's what I'm here for.
Now it's time to get in here, do some sandblasting, do some painting, and that's what's coming up next.
But wait, James. You're forgetting about the giveaway.
Oh yeah,
let's go show them. This thing is freaking sweet. I've only ever seen videos of this rig, and now I've seen it in person. This thing is worth it. I still can't believe that James is giving this thing away to one of you. Head over to expeditionranch.com and get yourself entered.